Welcome back for another video. We've got another Friday deadline, the third in a row, and in this one we look at how the team's set to line up this week, and with 2 transfers banked, at least one's going to be spent. I hope you all had a good game week last weekend and hopefully did better than mine. It was 40 points all out. It was actually a great start to the game week for the Mitoma and Estepinian owners, both getting 1 goal, 1 assist. But if you didn't own Mbeumo, he soon caught up and then overtook him with another penalty and a late goal to put the game to bed versus Fulham. Undoubtedly, the most painful part of the game week though was Gabriel's consecutive benching, and on top of that, Saliba putting up an 8-pointer. Absolutely brutal for those that missed the leak of Gabriel's benching last week. Arteta dismissed that it was due to any transfer interest in the market, and he said he's going to get a ton of games still. It certainly looks far worse than it is though, with the ranks so condensed at the moment. The difference between Saliba and no Saliba is about 2 million ranks in this team. But elsewhere in midfield, Martinelli, Saka, Bruno and Rashford all blanked, and João Pedro was benched. He came on but he got booked, so a 0-pointer, and of course Captain Haaland blanked as well. With all that in mind, I'm looking forward to the challenge of the climb from rank here anyway. FPL hard mode for us Gabriel owners. If I look at the team, I can't say there's much I'm unhappy with at all. Good picks can just blank sometimes. And after 2 game weeks, it really is fine margins like Mitoma versus Mbeumo and Gabriel versus Saliba. Those 2 alone are 17 points difference. So 2 transfers in the bank and 1.5 mil in the bank. Let's have a look at how the team's set to line up for game week 3. Pickford returns in goal with Turner away to Man United. It's been a discouraging start by Everton, 4.5 expected goals conceded, which ranks 2nd worst in the league. Only Fulham have fared worse. It is a home fixture though, and Everton are more than capable of getting a result here. Iwobi and Calvert-Lewin went off injured last match, which is also a concern. If Pickford can get back-to-back clean sheets to Wolves and Sheffield United, then all is forgiven. I have been considering a transfer to Sanchez from Chelsea, but ultimately decided against it, more on that later. The back 3 this week is Shaw, Estepinian and Chilwell. Rock solid defence this week, all home fixtures. Though I felt pretty good about the team last week, so I won't get ahead of myself. I'd like to see Shaw more advanced this game week, and I'd like to see Ten Hag change things up. Perhaps Martial playing through the middle, with Rashford in his natural position down the left wing. Man United have been given a 44.5% chance of a clean sheet. What a start to the season by Estepinian though. He's an absolute monster. He's created 8 chances, which is top in the league among defenders, and Shaw in 2nd with 6 by the way. 1.25 expected goal involvement, also top among all defenders. The loose plan before game week 1 was to potentially move him in game week 4 when Brighton have got Newcastle and then Man United, but that's certainly changed now, and he's arguably even a permanent starter. Another man who is a permanent starter for the foreseeable is Chilwell. Chelsea top in the league on Fantasy Football Scout's fixture ticker tool. Scary to see Man City so high up by the way, and only owned Haaland in my team, as it stands anyway. I think due to the blank in game week 2, people have forgotten about Luton and how much of a team to target they actually are. I know that Chelsea started poorly. Liverpool and West Ham not exactly an easy couple of opening fixtures. Luton conceded 27 shots in game week 1. I'm expecting a comfortable win and much needed at Stamford Bridge. The midfielders Martinelli, Saka, Mitoma, Fernandes and Rashford. So let's talk about the Man United mids first. A bad start to the season from United. They took the 3 points in game week 1, but they got pretty lucky, and against Spurs they looked decidedly 2nd best. There is a temptation to sell one of these. If it would be either, it would be Rashford. Bruno's underlying numbers have actually been really good. 7 chances created, 2 big chances created, 2.12 expected goal involvement, which only Mbeumo can beat due to having 2 penalties. Penalties have an XG of about 0.75, so basically 3/4 are scored on average. So that's 1.5 XG added on top of Mbeumo's numbers. Excluding penalties, Bruno's actually top in the league for expected goal involvement, so I think we need to be careful about selling. Rashford with 0.89 expected goal involvement, less than half that of Bruno, and as I say, really hoping to see Ten Hag change things up. They've played a midweek friendly against Burnley this week, perhaps to get fitness up or maybe to practice some tactical changes. The latest news is that Mount's going to be out until after the international break now. Not expecting it to have a huge impact on them. Bruno could play a little more advanced, expecting Eriksen to slot in. Arteta lined up with Nketiah leading the line for the Palace game, and he played pretty well, won the penalty. The problem with Nketiah is his game is different to Jesus. He doesn't interchange much, and he doesn't bring others into the game as much. So Martinelli suffers when the 2 line up together, and we saw the same last season. After 2 game weeks, Martinelli's taken 2 shots, just 0.11 expected goals. However, it is Fulham at home, who are by far the worst in the league for expected goals conceded as it stands. I'm not too concerned about Arsenal pen duties. It was a frustration to see Ødegaard taking it last game week. He indicated that Saka is on them, but he asked to take it during the game. Presumably he was feeling confident, which sometimes happens in games and another player takes compared to normal. Saka wasn't having a great game either, to be honest. Wouldn't be at all surprised if Saka takes the next one though. Mitoma, along with Estepinian, was a potential transfer out in Game Week 4 when the fixtures turn, but again, if Mitoma delivers this week, it's going to be very hard to sell. 1 goal and 2 assists from his first 2 games. In hindsight, the Mitoma and Mbeumo combo would have been the one, rather than one or the other. Didn't honestly expect that given the quality the Arsenal Man United mids both had last season. After the first 2 games, Mitoma's top in the league for expected assists with 1.28, 9 chances created. Onto the front 2, which is João Pedro and Haaland. So João Pedro will be leaving the team this week. He didn't do too terribly thanks to the goal in Game Week 1, but Game Week 2 was disappointing. He actually came on around the 50th minute mark off the top of my head, because Brighton were well ahead by then, so he got a good 40 or so minutes still. De Zerbi has alluded to the rotation this season, and he remarked that João Pedro needs to work on his defensive work rate. He'll no doubt chip in with returns throughout the season, but he makes sense as the first transfer out of the season. So quickly on Haaland and then the transfer plans. Not a week to be clever with captaincy in my eyes, expecting this one to finish 3 or 4-0. Sheffield United have conceded 40 shots in the opening 2 games, only Bournemouth have conceded more with 42. Despite the blank against Newcastle, he had a few half chances that we've seen him bury before. Not at all concerned by the blank, and I can't see the armband moving off him at any point in the foreseeable future. So the bench is Turner, Udogie, Gabriel and Mbeumo. I've had to take a 0.1 mil loss in Gabriel, which only adds to the frustration. I can't see him actually leaving the team for a while, so may take another drop or 2 on him. Best case scenario is Arteta is true to his word and he starts to play a ton from here on. I could see myself using him in later game weeks if that happens. I actually fully expect him to start next week due to Tomiyasu's suspension. It makes perfect sense for Zinchenko to invert from the left, and therefore Gabriel plays on the left of the back 3. However, I was expecting him to start against Palace, so who knows. Udogie's a 4.5 mil gem, likely to give him his first start in the team in Game Week 4 when Shaw and Gabriel face one another. Onto the transfer plans then. 2 transfers banked and 1.5 mil in the bank as well. As mentioned, João Pedro is leaving the team and there's 2 ways to go, Jackson or Alvarez. Both are affordable in one move. My preference is Jackson. Although he's blanked in both games, his underlying numbers are solid and I feel he'll come good. 6 shots in the box taken, and his 1.3 non-penalty expected goals is 4th best among all forwards. And the fixtures are good enough for those solid underlying numbers to convert into returns. However, I do feel that Man City are going to put up some huge scores over the coming fixture run, so there's a big temptation to sell Martinelli for Foden for the reasons mentioned earlier. Just the 2 shots for Martinelli in 2 game weeks. Looks a worse FPL asset when Nketiah plays, which he is while Jesus is injured. As it stands, I'm going to save the second transfer, maybe make it in Game Week 4 instead, and keep the options open, as it could be Rashford instead that leaves the team. I mentioned at the start of the video I did consider Pickford to Sanchez as well, but I do feel that transfer would be better spent outfield. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe, more great content to come this week, and to become a Scout member, use the link below for 30% off. See you soon for the next one.